Hey, I hope you're doing well. I am getting back into recording more consistent podcasts, which I'm so excited about. I learned a long time ago from the first coach that I ever hired a concept called ILT. This is from Ray Higdon. Shout out, Ray. Invest, learn, teach. It's a very simple concept that you invest time and or possibly money to learn a concept, and then you teach it online to your audience. So that's exactly what I'm going to do this week. I invested some time while I was working out this week to listen to one of my favorite podcasts. Now, just a side note, I love marketing podcasts, but not just like the normal ones that everyone listens to, like James Clear and Ed Milet and, maybe Marie Forleo or something like that. Like everybody knows those. No, I go for like the random obscure podcasts from super deep, like corporate marketing experts. I listen to all sorts of crazy podcasts. Anyways, I read a book last year and then now have been listening to the podcast from a lady named April Dunford. And I don't think that her podcast is probably applicable to most people. If you really geek out on marketing like I do, then by all means dive in. But otherwise, it goes deep. And she's kind of a corporate sales coach and trainer, but she has a lot of good stuff that's applicable to marketing in what we do in social selling. So anyways, I learned something this week from one of her podcasts, and I want to share that with you and give you a couple of examples on how I am going to implement this. I will put all this stuff, all these notes that I'm talking from in the show notes on this podcast, because more than likely you're driving or working out or doing dishes or something like that while you're listening to this, and it's a lot to try to take notes on. So I'll help you out here. Okay, so April Dunford, like I said, she's really a sales positioning expert. And what I love about like just that genre is positioning is everything in our industry. I don't care if you're trying to sell makeup, keto supplements, it does not matter. You have to explain and position what you do relative to something else. Like you have to position your product relative to something else so you can make a differentiation. Because otherwise, you can go to Target and get makeup. I can go to Target and get ketones. I can go to Target and get shampoo or whatever, right? We have to make a distinction on why what we're selling is different. Here's the problem with that, though. Most people who are new at marketing will try to make that distinction, that differentiation, by talking about features. Oh, well, my makeup has no mica in it, or my ketones have blah, blah, blah in it. Like they'll talk about features. It's just not the most effective way to do it. It may work. And I'm not saying that it's not appropriate to ever talk about features, because I definitely will talk about features in the right context. But most people don't really care about things like ingredients, or they're just not into the features. We want to get a little bit better at our marketing and the way that we explain our products and why what we have is unique. We want to reduce the time that we're spending talking about features and increase the time that we're talking about the value that your product brings to somebody. Now, before we go down that kind of line of thought, I've always said, most social media and marketing and sales trainers will tell you that we want to talk about benefits. And this is really just another way to talk about benefits, okay? So if you're like, well, I've always been told to talk about the benefits of my stuff. Yes, absolutely. But we're going to take that a little bit further. Instead of simply talking about the benefit, we want to talk about the specific benefit in terms of a value that your customer is going to get. And the way that this podcast that I listened to, just genius stuff. The way that she explained a way to do this is to talk about your unique point of view in the marketplace. So basically, what makes you different than every other thing on the market? And she says why you built your product in the first place. Now, most of us are not selling products that we built or invented or designed, but that's not going to stop us from taking that concept and running with it. So if you think about why was your product built, invented, created in the first place, you as a sales rep, a brand rep, an affiliate marketer, a network marketer, you can take that same idea and make it your own. So again, instead of talking about and I'll just, you guys know this by now, right? I'm in a shampoo brand, right? So instead of being like, well, my shampoo doesn't have parabens and doesn't have this and doesn't have that, there may be other shampoos on the market, I know there are, that don't have parabens and don't have, toxic ingredients. Okay, well, that's not a great selling point. Like, okay, fine. That may help give someone a little bit of confidence or get them excited a little bit, but there's lots of that, right? I'll think of another company. If you sell liquid collagen, there's 100 liquid collagens on the market, right? So the concept of liquid collagen is not unique, but you're like, okay, well, mine is only from, I don't know, chicken feet, right? Okay, well, there's probably others that are only from chicken feet. So as the internet gets more popular and as people get more savvy about shopping and as it gets just more crowded with products in the marketplace, the only real way to differentiate yourself, according to April Dunford, or the best way, maybe not the only way, but the best way, is to talk about what value you bring to the marketplace. Okay, so here is my example of how I'm going to explain that, okay? I'm going to use actually my hair company as an example, only because I wrote it down for myself and I think that it's a really good one. And then after I go through that one, I will talk about basically the same thing that I did for a course I'm selling. And hopefully those two examples will give you an idea of how you can distinguish yourself in the marketplace. But before I go through my examples real quick, what problem does your thing uniquely solve that nobody else does, nobody else's product does? You could even pause this and just think about that for a second. What is the thing that your product or company or whatever does uniquely that nobody else does? So I first thought about our products focus on scalp health. And I've never heard of anyone talk about scalp health. And that is definitely true. So I actually wrote a thing out about how we focus on scalp health, blah, 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 blah. But then I was like, you know what? That's kind of boring. Let's be honest. I geek out about scalp health because I understand the linkage between scalp health and healthy hair growth, but nobody else really does unless you're in my company. So what I ended up, after some thinking, talking about is joining as a VIP customer. So let me explain this as if you were a potential customer of mine looking for hair products. So this is how I'm going to explain to you why my stuff is different in the marketplace. Ready? When you have trouble with your hair, here are your choices. A, you can walk into Target and buy whatever is cute on the shelf, or Ulta or whatever, pick your TJ Maxx. I don't care where you go shopping, but you can walk into a store and look at all the millions of bottles, try to find a bottle that's cute, that has kind of clean ingredients, and cross your fingers and hope that it helps you, right? That's your first choice. Your second choice is you can ask your hairstylist, whoever cuts your hair. But a lot of times, unfortunately, your hairstylist doesn't know a lot about shampoo. They're great at cutting, but they don't necessarily get a lot of education in products. Or they're recommending the thing that they're selling just because they're selling it, and they don't have a wide variety of things that they're selling. But regardless, most hairstylists aren't necessarily experts in recommending a long-term routine for your hair to help correct any of the things that might be challenging you with your hair. And the other thing is that you're not going to see your hairstylist again for the next 90 days. And they're busy, they're working. So there's no real way to get support from them in between. Heck, I text my hairstylist, he doesn't even respond. And you physically have to go back to their studio, their salon, to get a refill on whatever you bought from them in the first place, right? That's just a pain in the butt. So that's not a great option. The other option is you can have a shampoo dealer like me who is specifically trained to help you troubleshoot your hair and really, quite honestly, available to you at all time. I give all my VIP customers my cell phone number, and we text about your hair whenever you need help. So we can help you with styling, growth tips, anything that you might be concerned about. Plus, when you purchase products from me, all the products come to your door. You're able to get discounts on them. You can control how much you buy and when. There's no purchasing requirements, and it's extremely convenient, and you get your hair problem solved. Okay, so that's an example of how I took April Dunford's advice and I differentiated myself on the value that I can bring to the marketplace. It's genius, right? Like, I wrote that, but I mean, it's her idea that I stole. None of this is groundbreaking. None of this is like, oh God, that's, like something I've never heard. We've all thought about this kind of stuff before, but framing it that way for a potential customer is genius. So I want you to think about the same thing for your products or business opportunity or whatever it is. What is a way that you can frame your own, what you provide in terms of the marketplace? Like, what is available? What is the alternative that people are typically going to go do? Are they going to go, again, let's just use makeup because that's super easy. Are they going to go to Target or Ulta? Do they get help there? Do they get a quality, assistance? Kind of same thing that I said. You could probably steal that and make it your own. Are they going to get someone who's actually going to be able to teach them how to use the makeup? Because nobody ever at Target has been like, hey, ma'am, can I help you apply that foundation? No. That's not going to happen. So that's an easy example when you're talking about products. Let me give you a similar example of what I came up with, and I actually used this week, in my course launch for Maven Network Marketing Academy. Okay, so this is another example that I'm going to walk you through on how I differentiated my course that Chelsea Humphreys and I came up with, why it's different than any other thing on the marketplace. Okay, here you go. If you are a network marketer and you need help, there's only a few places you can go. Number one, you can go to your upline, right? Your upline may know what they're doing. They may not. They may be around. They may not be. Who knows? Sometimes your upline, like my first upline were these massive influencers with like big Instagram followings and email lists and all this kind of stuff. And I was starting out with like 120 Instagram followers. I didn't know, I needed advice. I went to my upline and they were like, oh, we'll just keep marketing on social media. And I'm like, yeah, but I only have 120 followers. Like, that's only going to get me so far. They didn't have good strategy for me. They're lovely people, but they just weren't equipped to coach me in a way that I needed. So you can go to your upline. Again, sometimes that's awesome. Sometimes you have a great upline if you're lucky. If not, you got to kind of go somewhere else. So the next thing you can do is join a mastermind, right? Let's join a mastermind. Lots of network marketing coaches have masterminds. There's lots of different kind of social media coaches out there. I joined a mastermind. This is what I did when I first joined, when my upline couldn't help me. And unfortunately, my first mastermind cost me $22,000, which is not a realistic thing. Most people cannot afford $22,000 when they haven't made a dime yet in network marketing. Now, not every mastermind is that, but you get what I'm saying. The other problem with masterminds is that there's meetings, online Zoom things 1 or 2 times a week. Sometimes there are times where you can't go. It's inconvenient. You forget to watch the replay. Like, people don't have time for that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? People just don't have time for that stuff on top of their career and their business and their side job and their, pets and kids and family obligations, etc. Like, masterminds are a time suck, let's be honest. Okay, so eliminate the mastermind is a great option. If you need help in network marketing, the only other real place to go is to buy a course. So purchasing a course, nothing wrong with purchasing a course, but there are challenges. A lot of them are outdated. Like, they don't keep up with the tactics and the things that you need to know about network marketing. A lot of them are basically all social media courses, right? How to grow on Instagram, things like that, which is fine if that's your problem. But if you need help in your business in general, things like prospecting, how to find people to talk to, what do you do when you're starting to get burned out? None of those courses are going to address that. And those are usually the big problems that network marketers run into. Oh, by the way, most of the courses that I've ever enrolled in are taught by people who, again, big, massive followings, influencers, or they grew their businesses years ago. They've been in network marketing for 20 years, and they're not up to speed on the challenges that network marketers of today have. Or lastly, they're full-time network marketers and they can't relate to having a part-time business. So it's really tricky to find a course that actually fits your need. So ultimately, that's why Chelsea and I created the course Maven Network Marketing Academy, because we knew that there was a need out there for an audio course that you could easily watch during your busy day, listen to during your busy day, that was full of relevant advice from people who have built their businesses on the side of crazy, insane lives and jobs, and that gets results. And that really, this course talks to, the challenges that you're going to have, both in tactics and strategy and social media, but also a lot of mindset and a lot of the things that keep us back from actually building our business. End scene. So there you go, right? That's the pitch that I used this week to sell Maven. You might have heard that same pitch. I stole that framework from April Dunford. So what did I do? I positioned myself and my course against everything else that was out there on the marketplace, which leads you to the conclusion that that is the course for you. Similarly, when I was talking about, me being your shampoo dealer, I want to position myself against your other options. What are your other options? So anyways, I am so fired up about this. I just think it's genius. You can do this for a specific product. So I'm thinking of the fact that I have a bunch of specific products that I talk about online. I can use the same formula and say, look, this product may seem similar to other things that you've seen on the marketplace, but here's the value that it's going to bring to you in comparison to those other things. So anyways, I hope that helps. Like I said, I will put these notes and kind of what I wrote down in the show notes. Please don't copy my stuff word for word. Make it your own, but use the framework by all means, because I stole this framework from April Dunford. I think that it will help you. Which, by the way, since I was just talking about Maven, I know you've probably heard this before if you're a listener of this podcast, but Maven is my baby. It's my baby. It is the course that Chelsea and I created that we really know is going to fit your needs if you are busy and you need help with your network marketing business. And let's face it, if you're listening to this podcast already, you're already a listener of audio content, so it's super easy. What I love about the course too is that you can skip to whatever chapter you need. So let's say you come up against a problem a month from now and you're like, God, I just need help with this. We probably have a chapter on it because we have 26 modules. There's lots of stuff in there. So anyways, I will also put a coupon code specific to you, my friend and podcast listener, down in the show notes, but I have extended the coupon code. People keep buying, so I'm going to keep giving you guys the coupon code $100 off for $100 off. So it's 100OFF when you check out. That'll give you $100 off the course. It's a hell of a deal. It's a lot cheaper than the $22,000 that I spent to learn all of this. Well, $22,000 times 4 years that I stayed in the mastermind. I was in Ray Higdon's mastermind. Chelsea was in Eric Worre's mastermind. We have learned from the best and put it into practice and figured out the stuff that actually works for busy people like you. Because look, a lot of those freaking courses out there, they're like, oh yeah, it's totally simple to build your business. You just, message 500 people a day and create a LinkedIn post, a TikTok, an Instagram, a Facebook post, and then go live twice a day and you'll build your business. And you're like, oh gee, thanks. Is that it? Is that all I have to do? I did not find that very helpful. And that's what so many of the network marketing courses are. So anyways, I digress. If you want to grab the course, we'd love to have you. All right. Talk to you soon. Bye.